Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon, and we're going to talk about the continued implosion of digital media. Vice Media is set to miss its revenue projection by over $100 million. They're also not paying their vendors. This is not a very good sign. Not a good sign. We've been kind of chronicling the decline of digital media for the last year or two now. Of course, we started talking about Buzzfeed. I wonder how Buzzfeed's doing. Oh, look, their stock's only worth 89 cents now. Yeah, they're doing great. Buzzfeed's doing great. We're going to talk about Vice Media burning down, basically. And this is yet another one of these digital media outlets that were artificially propped up with venture capital and with overinflated ad prices. And now the pendulum is swinging and the money is running out. And I think there are going to be a lot of unemployed journalists next year. A lot of them, we're going to talk about how digital media is one of the most affected sectors right now in terms of layoffs. Tech too, of course, and these two are intertwined. And basically, you know, I don't think that these businesses were ever sustainable. Not what they're paying their journalists, not the lavish offices that they rented. You know, it's over. It's over. Digital media is over. So we're going to talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, over 283,000 subs. Thank you for the support. Check out clownfishtv.com. And no, I don't literally mean digital media is over. Of course, there have been websites and blogs for decades, right? But this heyday of all of these basically super woke media outlets like Vice, like Buzzfeed, like Vox, like Gizmodo, like Kotaku, like Polygon, it's ending. It's absolutely ending. We've been keeping you guys up to date on all the layoffs, and there are so many layoffs. Washington Post laying off a bunch of people, CNN laying off a bunch of people. The boss of CNN, we did a video yesterday, coming out and saying that far left media, this is the boss of CNN, a guy who used to work for MSNBC, the guy who worked on the Colbert Report, right? Coming out and saying that far left media is just a bunch of name calling and half truths, trying to course correct CNN. Buzzfeed, which is, we're going to talk about Buzzfeed after this, and it's dire, man. You know, as far as Vice is concerned, this is nothing new, and everybody's acting like it's the pandemic. Before the pandemic, Vice Media cost Disney more than $400 million, right? I know Universal, I think, lost a bunch of money on Vox. Of course, Vox is crowing about, but all these websites are dying. They're dying by degrees, and I think after this winter, and I said before that winter is coming. Well, winter's here, man. Winter is here. It's freaking cold outside. Might not be so cold out in LA or wherever these guys are at, San Francisco, but it's going to be very hard for digital journalists to find jobs for media outlets like this that are going to offer them the kinds of money that they're used to. I mean, a lot of these people are getting over $100,000 a year to write whatever the hell they want, and it was never sustainable. Do you know how much ad revenue you have to make to pay one six-figure salary? I mean, it's insane. I know what the ad rates are, you know, and they're not great. They're substantially less this year than they were last year, but they've never been great. And that's why a lot of the pop culture blogs historically have been run by fans. You know, they make enough money to keep the lights on, to pay people something for freelancing, to pay people something maybe to run the site, and you know, to you know, pay hosting and, you know, marketing expenses, whatever. And that's about it, right? So when I started seeing the salaries that some of these people were making off of these sites and knowing what the traffic actually is, and a lot of them don't have a lot of traffic, you go out and you start to look at, you know, some of the, especially the pop culture sites. You go out on Twitter, which should be, you know, ground zero for these people, and they hardly get any interaction. Like the Mary Sue hardly gets any retweets or likes. Same with Nerdist. And that's why they're propped up by other companies, because they're not sustainable. They become kind of the marketing arm of some other corporation. But now people are done with them. It's over. This is coming from Wall Street Journal. Hat tip to Kay, who sent this over. Vice Media set to miss revenue projection by over $100 million amid stalled sales talks. The new media company has been in sales talks with Greek broadcaster Antenna Group and has sought a valuation of around $1.5 billion. Good luck with that. Vice is expecting to miss a 2022 revenue goal by more than $100 million, according to people familiar with the situation. a blow for the new media company as it pursues a sale. Of course, they're all trying to sell themselves off or merge with other companies. The company presented a revenue target of over $700 million at an offsite with senior employees earlier this year. One of the people said the expected shortfall would leave Vice with around $600 million in revenue for the year, roughly flat compared with 2021. The anticipated revenue miss comes as the company has been in talks for months to sell itself to Greek broadcaster Antenna Group. The two companies are partners on Vice's push into international news. So we can spread some of that, some of these California sensibilities abroad, right? Vice Media is expecting to see a significant growth in earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, as well as cash flow from 2021 to 2022. It's been a challenging year for our industry, but Vice is growing year to year through strong financial discipline and focus, said the spokesperson. Our ongoing performance is creating new opportunities for Vice in 2023 and working with our advisors. Wait, it turns out that they're not paying their vendors. It gets better. We'll keep exploring ways to position the company for growth and success. Just to remind you, Buzzfeed was in the same situation. Buzzfeed was like, we're going to position ourselves for growth and success. We're going to go public because everybody loves Buzzfeed. Buzzfeed's fantastic. Look at this. They started out like $10 a share and they had a big party and now they're down to freaking 85 cents. 85 cents a share, 87 cents a share. Buzzfeed's doing great. They're doing great, guys. Vice, whose assets include Vice News, Motherboard, Female-Focused, Refinery 29, and Vice TV, and they just bought Refinery 29, I think, was among a handful of media startups that raised money at high valuations several years ago. This is important. None of these companies were ever sustainable. At a time when eyeballs and ad dollars were shifting toward digital media, the company was valued at $5.7 billion 5 years ago. Sustaining fast growth proved difficult amid competition from online ad giants such as Google and Facebook and other new media outfits with similar business models who tended to lie a lot less. In recent months, I added that, all publishers have been contending with tough macroeconomic conditions. No, that is a lie. Going back to 2019, investors were getting hosed on Vice and Vox, both of them. Vice's bills are piling up. The company had raised $250 million in debt in 2019 from a group of investors, including Fortress Investment Group. That debt has come due. According to the people familiar with the situation, the piper needs to be paid. Fortress is currently working with Vice on a framework to restructure its debt. According to a person familiar with the matter, also Vice is several months behind on payments to a number of vendors, according to other people familiar with the matter. They're going to pay their vendors before they pay their people. They're going to probably lay more people off. This is why they're desperate to sell. Given the financial pressure, Vice's principal investor, private equity firm TPG, may need to decide soon whether to continue to fund the media company. If the deal with Antenna doesn't materialize, I don't know if it's going to because they just missed. One option being discussed is to continue to cut costs and then attempt to sell Vice in parts, according to some of the people familiar with the situation. Vice has struggled to consistently turn a profit, and its revenue has been relatively flat in recent years. Over the past few weeks, Vice has laid off staffers, including employees at its Munchie and Noisy brands as part of wider cost cuts up to 15%. Last year, the company tried to go public through a merger with a special purpose acquisition company, but that effort ended when investor interest in those blank check companies faded. What they're talking about is Buzzfeed. Everybody was looking at Buzzfeed, and they're like, well, Buzzfeed can do it because they're the biggest. We can do it too. And this is how we're going to get more, basically, venture capital. We're going to let suckers buy our shares. And it failed spectacularly. I mean, these companies have no real value. They should just be blogs. There are independent bloggers kicking their ass. I mean, seriously, there are mom and pop websites, not ours, but there are other smaller operations completely destroying these websites in terms of actual organic readership. And, the bill's coming due, man. The bill is coming due. So this is Wolf Street. This is the fate of free online publishers, BuzzFeed's existential crisis after its SPAC merger. They talked about how on the first day of trading, they went from $10 to $14. Now we're down to like 85 cents, guys. This guy says, charts like this give me the willies about the free money era, deeply infested with consensual hallucination. That's what this was. Everybody was dumping money into these media outlets thinking they were going to be the next ABC, NBC, whatever. And it didn't work out. People have been losing money on these for years. So many tech companies now, the bill's coming due. With venture capital, you get 5 to 8 years to turn a profit, basically. And if you can't do it, then you sell your company. You have to have an exit strategy. You sell the company off, shut the company down, something. And what's going to happen is we're going to see a lot of these blogs go for next to nothing. In fact, there are some pop culture blogs I've kind of got my eye on. If they go for next to nothing, if there are certain comic sites that want to sell that go for next to nothing, give me a call. Give me a call because maybe we can make a deal because I can make them profitable, but not to the extent that these companies have to make. I mean, that's the thing too, that you look at the revenue, and a lot of times they'll spend $500 million to make $501 million, because they have to plow money into advertising. And at that point, it's not really worth it. Yeah, it really isn't. The big promise in the early years of the internet was free. Yeah, it's true. Publishers would put their stories, videos, and images online for free and would make money from eyeballs, as it was called during those crude days, from ads that these readers were looking at. As the ad technology and metrics became more sophisticated, and as ad giants came into being whose tentacles started controlling all aspects of internet advertising, including the infrastructure, and as ad tech was born to siphon out more and more of the funds that flow from advertisers in the direction of the publishers, well, publishers got less and less of the revenue stream, but they have all the expenses of producing the content. Many of the online-only publishers, including well-known names, no longer made enough in revenue to pay for salaries and other expenses. They ran out of cash and they shut down. Others were acquired by big companies. Most of the big publishers and many not so big ones began hiding some or all of their online content behind paywalls. That's why so many websites now are like, please, do our Plus Club. Please, donate. Please, even publications that have been around for decades are like, give us money. They're rattling the cup because the ad money's not there. So many people have ad blockers. And then you get that annoying, thing pops up. You have to turn your blocker off, and people found ways to get around that too. Can't really say anything. I do that too because it's annoying. But they're burning through cash. They said that this has started in 2017, that they've been laying off, and it's going to continue. These websites are done. If you're a digital journalist right now, you're working for one of these companies, please do yourself a huge favor. Keep your resume updated and possibly cross-train into something else, because I don't think there's going to be a lot of demand for digital journalists going forward, especially with these companies bleeding out money the way that they are, especially with public backlash toward digital journalists now. The general public's like, we can't trust journalists, so you're not gonna get another $100,000 a year paycheck working for a Vice or a Vox or a Polygon or wherever the hell you work. Make sure your resume is updated. Have a backup plan, for the love of God, because the free ride is over. Gonna wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.